Number 1. The Eye. Let's start with the absolute peak of television brilliance. The Eye scored a staggering 9.1 out of 10 rating, and for good reason. This is where Andor transcends from great Star Wars to legendary television. The Aldhani heist reaches its explosive climax during the spectacular Eye of Aldhani celestial event, creating one of the most visually stunning and emotionally charged sequences in all of Star Wars. What makes this episode so special? It's the perfect storm of character development, political intrigue, and edge-of-your-seat action. We watch Cassian transform from reluctant mercenary to someone who understands the true cost of rebellion. The way the heist unfolds against the backdrop of the Empire's own celebration is pure storytelling genius, using their spectacle against them. Plus, that moment when Nemik delivers his manifesto while dying, chills, absolute chills. Number 2. One Way Out. Prison Break episodes are a dime a dozen, but One Way Out elevates the concept to high art. Announcement is described as bridging the Aldhani storyline and the Narkina 5 plot, but it's in One Way Out where the prison arc reaches its devastating conclusion. Andy Serkis delivers a tour-de-force performance as Kino Loy, culminating in that gut-wrenching revelation: I can't swim. The episode masterfully builds tension through the systematic breakdown of the prison's seemingly impenetrable system. Every moment feels earned, from the prisoners' growing solidarity to the explosive violence of their escape. This isn't just about breaking out of a physical prison. It's about breaking free from the mental chains the Empire uses to control its subjects. Number 3. Rick's Road series finales rarely stick the landing, but Rick's Road doesn't just land, it soars. Cassian manages to free Bix, who was under Imperial custody, and get her off the planet, but that's just the surface of what makes this episode extraordinary. Marva's funeral becomes a revolutionary act, her posthumous speech igniting the spark of rebellion on Ferrix. The way every storyline converges in this episode is masterful. Luthen arrives to kill Cassian, but instead finds a man transformed. The Imperial crackdown backfires spectacularly, and that final scene where Cassian tells Luthen to kill me or take me in, that's the birth of the rebel we meet in Rogue One. Number 4. Reckoning. This episode earned an impressive 8.6 out of 10 rating and marks Cassian's first real step into the larger world of organized rebellion. The introduction of Stellan Skarsgård's Luthen Rael completely changes the game. This mysterious figure isn't your typical rebel leader. He's calculating, ruthless, and absolutely magnetic. The escape from Ferrix is a masterclass in tension building. Every second counts as Cyril's corporate cops close in, while Luthen coolly evaluates whether Cassian is worth the risk. The episode perfectly balances intimate character moments with explosive action, culminating in that incredible speeder chase that shows us the rebellion isn't playing games. Hey, rebel scum! If you're loving this deep dive into the galaxy's finest hour of television, hit that subscribe button faster than Luthen's speeder escaping Ferrix. Your support helps us create more Star Wars content that actually respects your intelligence. Number 5. Announcement. Announcement is an exceptionally rare singular episode of Andor, in that it does not take place within a wider arc, serving as a brilliant bridge between major storylines. This is where we see the ripple effects of the Aldhani heist across the galaxy. The Empire's response is swift and brutal, exactly what Luthen wanted. The ISB scenes are particularly compelling here, showing us the machinery of oppression from the inside. Dedra Meero begins to piece together the pattern of rebel activities, while Mon Mothma navigates increasingly dangerous political waters. It's a quieter episode, but one that demonstrates Andor's strength in showing the war from every angle. Number 6. Narkina 5. The beginning of the prison arc introduces us to one of Star Wars' most haunting locations. Cassian is thrown into a hard labor prison, Narkina 5, which just so happens to be building parts that will go into the Death Star. The sterile white environment is more terrifying than any dungeon, and the systematic dehumanization of the prisoners is deeply unsettling. What makes this episode work is how it strips everything away from Cassian. No friends, no weapons, no hope, just the daily grind of survival. The introduction of Andy Serkis as Kino Loy adds another layer of complexity, showing us a man who's bought into the system just enough to survive, but not enough to lose his humanity. Number 7. Nobody's Listening. The middle chapter of the prison arc ratchets up the psychological horror. The title itself is a cry of desperation. These men are trapped in a system designed to break them, and no one on the outside knows or cares. The revelation that the Empire is killing entire shifts rather than releasing them is a gut punch that transforms simmering resentment into revolutionary fury. This episode excels at showing how solidarity forms under oppression. The prisoners aren't natural allies, they're competitors in a rigged game. But faced with the truth of their situation, they begin to see each other as brothers in suffering. It's a powerful meditation on how tyranny creates the very resistance it seeks to prevent. Number 8. Casa. Cassian Andor's reckless search for answers about his past makes him a wanted man, and what an introduction it is. The series premiere had the difficult task of reintroducing introducing us to a character we thought we knew, while establishing an entirely different tone from other Star Wars shows. It succeeds brilliantly, even if it's a slow burn. The dual timeline structure, showing young Casa on Kenari alongside adult Cassian's fatal encounter on Morlana 1, adds depth and tragedy to our protagonist. We see how colonialism and violence shaped him from childhood. The noir atmosphere of the corporate security investigation sets the perfect tone for this more grounded, adult take on Star Wars. Number 9. The Axe Forgets. Cassian must carefully navigate the distrust inherent in being the new member of a secret operation, and the tension is palpable. This episode does excellent work developing the rebel cell on Aldhani, giving each member distinct motivations and personalities. The dinner scene alone is a masterclass in character dynamics. While it's primarily a setup episode, The Axe Forgets excels at showing the unglamorous reality of rebellion. These aren't heroes. They're scared, desperate people trying to strike back against an overwhelming enemy. The growing tension between Cassian and Skeen adds personal stakes to an already dangerous mission. Number 10. Aldhani. Out of options, Cassian is recruited for a dangerous mission to infiltrate an Imperial garrison. This episode marks a significant shift as Cassian leaves Ferrix behind and enters the wider world of organized rebellion. The journey to Aldhani with Luthen provides some of the season's best dialogue, exploring the philosophy of resistance. The introduction of the Aldhani rebel cell immediately establishes the stakes and challenges of guerrilla warfare. These aren't seasoned fighters, they're ordinary people pushed to extraordinary actions. Vel's leadership and the group dynamics create immediate tension that will pay off spectacularly in later episodes. What really elevates Aldhani is how it expands the scope of the series without losing its intimate character focus. The pristine Imperial garrison stands in stark contrast to the grimy industrial world of Ferrix, showing us the Empire's reach extends everywhere. The episode also introduces us to the concept of the rebellion as a network of disconnected cells, each operating independently. Luthen's willingness to sacrifice these people for a larger goal adds moral complexity that most Star Wars properties shy away from. It's uncomfortable, challenging television that asks hard questions about the cost of revolution. Number 11. Daughter of Ferrix. The penultimate episode focuses on aftermath and consequences. Bix is under Imperial custody, tortured by the Empire in their search for Cassian. The death of Marva hits particularly hard, not just for Cassian, but for all of Ferrix. Her final message, recorded for her adopted son, is both heartbreaking and inspiring. While this episode is primarily about positioning pieces for the finale, it doesn't feel like mere setup. The exploration of grief, community, and resistance on Ferrix gives us one of the season's most emotionally resonant chapters. Seeing how the community prepares for Marva's funeral while under Imperial occupation is deeply moving. The episode title itself carries profound weight. Marva truly was a daughter of Ferrix, embodying the planet's spirit of independence and defiance. Her death transforms her from a cautious elder counseling patience into a revolutionary symbol. The scenes of Brasso, Bix's friend, and others preparing for the funeral while evading Imperial surveillance showcase the everyday heroism of ordinary people under fascism. Meanwhile, Cassian's journey back to Ferrix represents his final transformation. He's no longer running from his past, but returning to face it. The juxtaposition of personal loss against political awakening makes this one of Andor's most thematically rich episodes. Number 12. That Would Be Me. Cassian attempts to lay low on Ferrix as agents of the law close in, but the walls are closing in. This second episode deepens the noir atmosphere while expanding our understanding of Ferrix as a community. The introduction of Bix and Marva adds emotional stakes to Cassian's predicament. While That Would Be Me is arguably the season's slowest episode, it's essential for establishing the world and relationships that will drive the entire series. The corporate security investigation led by Cyril Karn might not be the most thrilling plotline initially, but it effectively shows how even minor functionaries can become instruments of oppression. The episode's title comes from Cassian's resigned acknowledgement when Luthen asks about the Imperial Starpath unit, a moment that perfectly captures his weary pragmatism. What makes this episode work despite its deliberate pacing is the texture it adds to Ferrix. We see the salvage yards, the bell tower, the tight-knit community that functions through mutual aid and shared secrets. The introduction of Tim, Bix's jealous boyfriend whose suspicions will have catastrophic consequences, shows how personal weaknesses can be exploited by authoritarian systems. Every small character detail and environmental touch in this episode pays dividends later, making it essential viewing even if it lacks the immediate thrills of later installments. There you have it, Rebels. Every episode of Andor Season 1 ranked. This show proved that Star Wars can be prestige television without sacrificing what makes it special. Drop a comment with your rankings, and may the Force be with you.